Chapter 266. Lin Yan sighed heavily. She was just a navigator. Why was it so troublesome? Miss Lin, you can participate in the competition. We apologize for the inconvenience. The staff member's attitude toward Lin Yan improved instantly. After all, this girl had a navigator's license at the first level of the international competition. How could they dare to disrespect her? Even though she had never participated in a competition, her license was real. Lin Yan rose from her seat after the staff member left. She wanted to return to the competition venue. Miss Lin, please wait. Before Lin Yan could take a few steps, the staff member called out to her. Huh? What's wrong? Lin Yan paused in her tracks and asked in confusion. Hold on. The staff member scanned the surroundings to make sure that no one was around before he shut the door. Lin Yan was speechless. What was he trying to do? The bespectacled staff member stared at Lin Yan excitedly. You are the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yeva. Lin Yan's expression changed when she heard the staff member's words. How had he found out? Me? Lin Yan grinned. You must have the wrong person. Miss Lin. Have you checked your license for the first level of the International League? The employee asked excitedly. Lin Yan shook her head unconsciously. She had taken the test after she had won the first level of the international competition. She hadn't paid attention to it after that. Miss Lin, you're the top navigator in the world. Your Chinese and English names are on the list. The staff member explained. Lin Yan smacked her forehead when she heard him. Now that he thought about it, he had indeed used Yeva's name to get a license. Miss Lin, don't worry. I'm your loyal fan. I know that you don't reveal your appearance to the public, so when my colleagues came to check, I helped you hide your identity, the staff member replied. The staff member's eyes were filled with anticipation as he studied Lin Yan. Oh, is that so? Thank you so much. Lin Yan grinned at him. The staff member was so excited that he almost jumped up. Everything he had done was so worth it. Idol, do you have the contact details of Lang Mang and Butcher? The staff member asked hastily. Lin Yan was speechless. No, sorry, I was too excited. I want your contact information. Can I treat you to a meal? No. Can I have your autograph, please? The staff member passed a pen to Lin Yan and scurried to the drawer to retrieve his shirt. He then asked Lin Yan to sign it. When the staff saw Yeva on the shirt, she was so excited that she danced with joy. She looked as though she had found a treasure. Idol, it seems like you haven't participated in any matches. Back then, you said that you would participate in the competition again. When will it be? Right now, many foreign forums are saying that you might be banned from the competition. This is definitely a rumor. The staff said. The staff member pressed on. Oh yeah. Do you know a local celebrity? His name is Wei Shufeng. He's also a hardcore fan of yours. Wei Shufeng will be watching the competition later. If he finds out. Chapter 267. Before he could finish, Lin Yan gestured for him to keep quiet. It's a secret. It's a secret. Lin Yan whispered to him. Given Wei Shufeng's clingy ways, if he were to find out, yeah. It's a secret. The staff member nodded solemnly. Of course, he was keeping it a secret, but if others saw through it, it was none of his business. Idol, I have a request. Can I have your contact number? The staff member stared at Lin Yan, looking anxious. He was talking to the legendary race track's Grim Reaper, Yeva. Not only that, but he had even dared to ask for her contact number. This world is really crazy. Lin Yan wrote down her contact number and passed it to the staff member. Treat me to a meal when you're free. I have to go to the competition now. Lin Yan left the office without a backward glance. The staff member almost fainted when he read the note in his hand. His idol had actually given him a way to contact him. He whipped out his phone and dialed a number. Hello. I want to apply for leave. What? You're not giving me leave? Then you can be my minor. I want to watch the competition today. At the venue, Old Master He Dinkuan and He Lefeng's faces darkened. Sister Yen? Soon, Lin Yen sauntered over leisurely. It's fine. It's a normal race, replied Lin Yen. Old Master He Dinkuan and He Lefeng were taken aback by Lin Yan's reply. Old Tang's face darkened. He hadn't expected that this girl would have a navigator's license. However, it didn't matter. He would let the He family team finish the last race. Oh, look at this mess. We almost caused a misunderstanding. Old Tang smiled. All right, then let's not waste too much time. Hurry up, the match is about to begin. Old Tang turned around and left. He Lefeng heaved a sigh of relief after Old Tang left. Sister Yen, you gave me a fright. Xiaoyan, are you sure you're fine? The old master frowned at Lin Yen. Grandfather, I'm fine. Lin Yen grinned. Then I'm relieved. He Dinkuan nodded and instructed He Lefeng, hurry up and get He Mingkai here. He's in 10 minutes, at this moment, outside the arena. A supercar slowly stopped at the side. Wei Shufeng, who was wearing sunglasses and a black mask, got out of the car slowly. Wei Shufeng was a hardcore racing fan. He paid attention to all kinds of teams and competitions. As long as he had the time, he would attend them personally. He's here. Soon, the bespectacled staff from before walked over quickly. Aren't you working today? Wei Shufeng asked curiously. Bullshit, I'm going to skip work today. The staff member said. Oh. Didn't you say that you wanted to contribute to the racing industry? Are you tired of it already? It seems like life isn't easy. Wei Shufeng chuckled. What do you know? I'm skipping work to watch the competition. The staff member hurriedly said. Didn't you say that you weren't interested in such competitions? Wei Shufeng glanced at the staff member. Sigh, You don't know. Actually. The staff member seemed to want to say something, but he closed his mouth in the end. What's wrong? Wei Shufeng was confused. Chapter 268. The staff member stared at Wei Shufeng, hesitating to speak. Qi Xiaoyuan, be honest. I know you well enough. What kind of secret can you keep? Wei Shufeng glanced at the staff member. Secret? Do you know what a secret is? I can't tell her. I promised her that I wouldn't tell her even if you beat me to death. The staff member looked pained. Wei Shufeng's eyes flickered with astonishment. Many years ago, Wei Shufeng and Qi Xiaoyuan had met at the first level of the international competition. After that, the two of them would travel together for every competition. Wei Shufeng knew Qi Xiaoyuan very well. Qi Xiaoyuan's mouth was as loose as cotton pants. He couldn't keep other people's secrets, and he had never been able to keep his own. F***CK. Qi Xiaoyuan. Don't ask. If you ask, there will be no secret. The staff member shook his head without hesitation. Don't force me if you're my brother. If I tell you, I won't have the right to be your fan anymore. Wei Shufeng was speechless. You're crazy. Go and be a bee. Wei Shufeng glanced at him. Without turning his head, he closed the car door and strode towards the VIP lounge. The staff member yelled, Wait for me. Let's watch together. I skipped work today. At the venue, the three teams were ready, and He Mingkai had also returned to his seat. Old Master He Dinkuan was deciding on the strategy. Remember, all of you have to support Mingkai and prevent the other racers from overtaking him. He Dinkuan instructed. Especially you, Xiaofeng. He Xiong glanced at He Lefeng. Remember this. She is just there to make up the numbers. Xiaofeng, you don't have a navigator. You have to be more focused. He Lifeng nodded in response. He Xiong glanced at Lin Yan coldly. Remember, don't talk to Xiaofeng when you're in the passenger seat. You can do whatever you want, but if you affect Xiaofeng's performance and drag Mingkai down, I will make sure you suffer. Lin Yan sneered coldly when she heard He Xiong. She was about to retort when He Lifeng interrupted her. Big uncle, don't worry. Sister Yan won't affect me. That would be best, He Xiong said coldly. Cut the crap. Let's go to the starting point, He Dingkuan said. A moment later, the group arrived at the starting point. In the sky, there were many drones taking aerial pictures. Because it was a cross-country race outside, there were only mountain roads ahead, so there were no spectator seats. There was only a viewing hall for the live broadcast. Get in. He Dingkuan said. The He family team hurriedly entered the car. Lin Yan lifted the helmet slowly and put it on her head. Many people's eyes were drawn to Lin Yan. Silver battle suit, silver helmet, silver carriage, especially that figure, it was too similar to a certain person in everyone's memories. He Dingkuan looked at his granddaughter in shock. Why hadn't he realized that his granddaughter resembled his favorite racer, the racetrack's Grim Reaper? Especially when she put on the helmet, they looked so much alike. At this moment, in the VIP lounge, Wei Shufeng entered the room. As soon as he sat down, his eyes were drawn to the television. Wei Shufeng seemed to be in a daze. Chapter 269. Wei Shufeng's gaze landed on the television as he frowned. There was a moment of doubt in his eyes. Boss. Wei Shufeng muttered under his breath. Boss was the nickname Yeva's fans had given her. Ha. How is it? Are you surprised? Are you excited? Qi Xiaoyuan plopped down beside Wei Shufeng and chuckled. Wei Shufeng turned his head and glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan. She does look like boss. It's a pity that she's too boring. Many racers in the international racing industry like to use a silver color. It was a common sight, and many racers even imitated the racetrack's Grim Reaper. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Who is that? Wei Shufeng asked as he pointed at Lin Yan. Qi Xiaoyuan replied, Who do you think? Is she a newcomer from the He family team? Asked Wei Shufeng. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. What else could he say? Could he just tell Wei Shufeng that he wasn't a good fan? How could he not recognize the racetrack's Grim Reaper? However, he couldn't blame Wei Shufeng. Anyone else would never have believed that Yeva would attend such a low-level competition. You could say that. Qi Xiaoyuan sighed heavily. She is He Lifeng's new navigator. Wei Shufeng nodded and didn't say anything else as he continued to watch the competition. Why haven't we heard from Boss in a long time? Is she not going to participate in the first level of the international competition? Wei Shufeng didn't even manage to keep quiet for 2 minutes before he spoke to Qi Xiaoyuan. How would I know? She might be right in front of us. Qi Xiaoyuan sat up and stared at Wei Shufeng. Right in front of us? Wei Shufeng was startled as he frowned. Are you saying that Boss is really Chinese? Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. He had hinted enough. She's definitely Chinese. Qi Xiaoyuan nodded. That might not be the case. She might be from another country, quipped Wei Shufeng. If I say he's Hua Nation, then he's Hua Nation. If Boss isn't Hua Nation, I'll kill myself, Qi Xiaoyuan said agitatedly. Besides, haven't you seen Boss before? Wei Shufeng sighed heavily. Boss was wearing a mask at that time, so I couldn't see her clearly. Honestly, I'm sure that she was an absolute beauty. Besides me, I don't think anyone else has seen her in person. No one has seen Boss in person? Qi Xiaoyuan sneered when he heard Wei Shufeng. Not only had he seen Boss in person, but he had also seen Boss's true appearance. He had even spoken to Boss, and Boss had even asked him to treat her to a meal. He even helped the Boss, and the Boss personally thanked him. Furthermore, Furthermore, boss had left him a contact number. Comparisons are infuriating. How pitiful. Qi Xiaoyuan stared at Wei Shufeng as he lamented. Wei Shufeng grinned at Qi Xiaoyuan. Don't be discouraged. There will be plenty of opportunities. Perhaps one day, you will be able to get close to boss, just like me. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Wei Shufeng was the one who was pitiful. That rascal still didn't know what was going on. It wasn't just that Wei Shufeng hadn't seen boss's true appearance. Boss was right in front of him, but Wei Shufeng didn't know. Qi Xiaoyuan wanted to explain himself, but he had promised boss that he wouldn't tell anyone. He couldn't bear to hold it in. Chapter 270. Qi Xiaoyuan wanted nothing more than to tell Wei Shufeng everything. Then, he would stand on Wei Shufeng's head and mock him. If it had been anyone else's secret, even if it had been his own, he wouldn't have been able to control himself. However, this was boss's secret. No, he couldn't say it. He couldn't say it even if he was beaten to death. The He family will definitely lose this competition. Suddenly, Wei Shufeng's tone changed as he turned to Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan was taken aback as he shook his head. Nonsense. The He family will definitely win. Wei Shufeng glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan and sneered coldly. Old Tang's team is the strongest. The He family team has never won, especially at this critical juncture. He Lufeng is a burden, and the navigator has been changed at the last minute. I'm afraid they haven't gotten used to each other yet. The He family team's chances of winning are 0. As a well-known spectator of professional racing competitions, if he couldn't even see this, then he would have wasted his years of studying the competitions of all the major racing teams. Why don't we make a bet? I bet that the He family team will win. If the He family team is eliminated and I win, I want boss's autograph. Qi Xiaoyuan blurted out anxiously. Wei Shufeng had kept an autograph of the racetrack's Grim Reaper, Yeva. He had never laid eyes on it, so Qi Xiaoyuan had been drooling over it for a long time. You want to bet on boss's autograph? Sure. What are you going to bet? Wei Shufeng sneered coldly. Boss's autograph. Qi Xiaoyuan replied excitedly. An autograph? Wei Shufeng was taken aback. Do you have one? Of course. Qi Xiaoyuan bolted to his feet and walked over to Wei Shufeng. He pointed his thumb behind him. See for yourself. Wei Shufeng instinctively glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan's back. Yeva, it must be fake. Wei Shufeng sneered without hesitation. Bullsh *T. Take a closer look. Is that boss's handwriting? Qi Xiaoyuan bellowed. How dare he say that boss's autograph was fake? This was intolerable. Wei Shufeng studied Qi Xiaoyuan's back once more. After a few breaths, he frowned. It wasn't fake, it was indeed boss's handwriting. Wei Shufeng had an autographed photo, and boss had even signed it on him. Hence, he was very familiar with Yeva's handwriting. F***CK. Wei Shufeng leaped up from his seat and reached out to strip Qi Xiaoyuan's clothes. What are you doing? Are you going to rob me? Qi Xiaoyuan quickly turned around and took a few steps back. Where did you get it? Wei Shufeng glared at Qi Xiaoyuan as he gritted his teeth. His eyes were filled with jealousy. He had spent so much money to bid for a necklace at the charity banquet. Originally, he had the chance to ask for an autograph when he saw Qi Xiaoyuan in person, but he didn't have any paper, and he couldn't write on the material of the shirt, so he could only sign it on his waist. After much effort, he finally managed to get an autographed photo, but Qi Xiaoyuan actually managed to get an autographed shirt without batting an eyelid. I can't tolerate this. I absolutely can't tolerate this. What puzzled Wei Shufeng the most was that, given Qi Xiaoyuan's personality, he would have used the megaphone a long time ago if he really had boss's autographed shirt. Why would he wait until now to show off? Be careful. If you mess it up, I'll play with a knife. Qi Xiaoyuan hurriedly took off his shirt and heaved a sigh of relief when he saw that the autograph was intact. It had just been signed, so it was easy to mess it up. Wait a minute. Why do you look like you just signed it? Wei Shufeng's expression was strange. It's none of your business. It's fine as long as it's real. Qi Xiaoyuan smiled arrogantly. Chapter 271. F***CK. F***CKU. This must be a fake. Your ink isn't even dry yet. Wei Shufeng hissed through gritted teeth. Bullsh**T. Boss personally signed it for me. Oh yeah, let me tell you a little secret. I have boss's contact details. What do you think? Are you angry? Are you jealous? Are you envious? Qi Xiaoyuan roared with laughter. Boss personally signed it for you. You even have his contact details? Wei Shufeng was flabbergasted. What do you think? Don't say that it's fake. The handwriting is real. If you don't believe me, we can get it verified by a professional. If it's fake, I'll call you daddy, Qi Xiaoyuan replied haughtily. You son of a b***tch. Wei Shufeng was furious. Judging from Qi Xiaoyuan's attitude, he didn't seem to be lying. Ha ha ha. What a useless roar. Qi Xiaoyuan returned to his seat and crossed his legs. F***CKU. You must be hiding something from me. Tell me. Wei Shufeng walked over to Qi Xiaoyuan. What secret? I don't have it. Qi Xiaoyuan shook his head. You said that you have boss's contact details? What's going on? Tell me. No, you have to give me boss's contact details. Wei Shufeng exclaimed anxiously. Qi Xiaoyuan's face fell when he heard Wei Shufeng's words. He had been too smug earlier and had let the cat out of the bag. Indeed, he couldn't keep any secrets. Sooner or later, he would spill the beans. Hurry up and give me his contact details. Wei Shufeng was visibly agitated. I was just bragging. How could I possibly have boss's contact details? However, this autographed shirt is real, Qi Xiaoyuan muttered to himself. Boss belonged to him alone. There was no way he would tell anyone else his contact details. No, that wasn't right. He had to keep it a secret. If he told Wei Shufeng his contact details, wouldn't he be betraying boss? Yes. That was exactly what he was thinking. I knew you weren't telling the truth. How could you possibly have boss's contact details? Wei Shufeng sneered coldly as he returned to his seat. Before Qi Xiaoyuan could respond, Wei Shufeng added, let's make a bet. If the He family team wins, you can have my autographed photo. However, if the He family team loses, you have to give me your autographed shirt. Qi Xiaoyuan hurriedly nodded. Okay. That's F***King awesome. This time, he had to make Wei Shufeng cry and snot. Boss was in the He family team. Even though he was just a navigator, he refused to believe that the He family team would lose. After all, the racetrack's Grim Reaper was there. Sit up straight. Wei Shufeng shouted when he saw that Qi Xiaoyuan was about to lie down. Instinctively, Qi Xiaoyuan straightened his back and looked at Wei Shufeng in confusion. What? Don't ruin my autographed shirt, Wei Shufeng hissed. Qi Xiaoyuan glared at Wei Shufeng. Mine. You'll be mine soon. Wei Shufeng sneered. Rascal, you will pay a heavy price for your arrogance and ignorance. Qi Xiaoyuan hissed through gritted teeth. Cut the crap. Take off your shirt and wrap it properly. Don't get it dirty. Who allowed you to wear such a precious shirt? Wei Shufeng frowned deeply. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. He didn't want to wear it, but boss was around. This was his uniform. He had to cheer for boss. Otherwise, he wouldn't bear to wear it. Chapter 272. Qi Xiaoyuan rubbed his nose and shook his head. Why should I take it off? It's still mine, so I have to wear it. I'm asking you one more time. Are you going to take it off or not? Wei Shufeng glanced at Qi Xiaoyuan, as though the shirt belonged to him. I'm not taking it off. I'm not taking it off. Qi Xiaoyuan replied. As soon as Qi Xiaoyuan finished speaking, Wei Shufeng stood up and strode over to him. If you don't want to take it off, I'll do it for you, he said icily. Qi Xiaoyuan yelled, Wei Shufeng, stop. Damn you. Meanwhile, at the starting point, get ready. As soon as He Dingquan's voice fell, everyone entered the car. Lin Yan strode to the front passenger seat and fiddled with it for some time. However, she couldn't open the door. He Dingquan frowned. She didn't even know how to open the door. He Dingquan sneered coldly. How embarrassing. Sister Yan, you, He Lifeng stared at Lin Yan in shock. Open the door for me. Lin Yan replied expressionlessly. This was the first time she had opened the door of such a low-class car. He Lifeng was speechless. He Lifeng unbuckled his seatbelt and opened the door for Lin Yan. Lin Yan bent over and entered the car. He Lifeng fastened his seatbelt and turned to Lin Yan. Sister Yan, fasten your seatbelt. When everything was ready, He Lifeng clutched the steering wheel nervously as his eyes darted to the signal flag. Don't be nervous, Lin Yan told him. Sister Yan. I'm not nervous. He Lifeng replied. You're sweating. Lin Yan whipped out a piece of tissue and wiped the sweat off his face. As a racer, how could he be sweating before the race even started? Adjust the rearview mirror to 90 degrees, Lin Yan reminded him. Oh yeah. I almost forgot. He Lifeng hurriedly adjusted the mirror. However, just as he was adjusting the rearview mirror, a gunshot rang out. Immediately after, the signal flag fluttered in the wind. Boom! Almost in an instant, all the cars rushed out of the starting point and quickly moved forward. F***CK. He Lifeng cursed and stepped on the accelerator. He Lifeng had started slowly and his standards were limited. At that moment, he was the last of the three teams. Lin Yan was speechless. This technique was really going to flip the water. He couldn't bear to look at it. The entire track was a mountain road, and the road conditions were very complicated. He Lifeng could only look left and right, not daring to increase his speed to the maximum. Step on the accelerator, Lin Yan ordered coldly. Ah. Sister Yan, don't give orders. It's dangerous. He Lifeng blurted out instinctively. Step on the accelerator. Don't make me repeat myself. Lin Yan bellowed. Sister Yan. He Lifeng's eyes trailed to Lin Yan. Don't look at me. Look ahead. Lin Yan frowned. Sigh. He Lifeng sighed and stepped on the accelerator to increase the speed. Moments later, He Lifeng drove past the bend in the mountain road ahead. At that moment, a car belonging to Old Tang's team slowed down when it saw the curve on the mountain road. He Lifeng instinctively slowed down when he saw the bend in the mountain road. Step on the accelerator. Lin Yan instructed him coldly. Sister Yan, that's a bend in the mountain road. He Lifeng blurted out anxiously. Cut the crap and listen to my instructions. You're only in charge of stepping on the accelerator and controlling the direction. Lin Yan frowned. Lin Yan's aura had changed completely. She was like a different person. Chapter 273. The old master, He Dingquan, stared at He Lifeng's car and sighed helplessly. He Xiong shook his head. Dad, don't blame Xiaofeng. He doesn't have a navigator, so there's nothing he can do. He Dingquan sighed and shook his head. We can only pin our hopes on the other team members. I hope that they can help Mingkai get rid of the other teams. He Dingquan was completely disappointed in He Lifeng, so he stopped paying attention to him. Dad, don't worry. Mingkai will be fine. He Xiong grinned. In VIP room 3, all the ZH1 team members were glued to the screen. F***CK. He Lifeng really can't be helped up. Miss Lin is his navigator. It's such a waste. He'll definitely be last. There's no way he can escape. Exactly. He started later than everyone else and didn't dare to speed up. How can he catch up? I reckon that he will still be on the first lap after everyone else finishes 2 laps. It's such a pity, Miss Lin. No matter how good a racer is, there's nothing she can do after becoming a navigator. Mumu chuckled softly. Actually, there's nothing she can do. After all, she is an excellent racer. As a navigator, she can only support the racer. If the racer isn't good enough, what can the navigator do? In VIP room 2, the corners of Wei Shufeng's mouth curled up as he stared at the screen. The He family team is at the bottom. He Mingkai is the fastest, but there are still 3 cars ahead of him. Qi Xiaoyuan snorted coldly. Why are you so anxious? He Lifeng will definitely do his best. Do his best? Wei Shufeng rolled his eyes at Qi Xiaoyuan. He's going to risk his life to finish last. I don't care. If I say he can do it, he will. Qi Xiaoyuan bellowed. Wei Shufeng was speechless. Was there something wrong with Qi Xiaoyuan today? At the mountain racetrack, He Lifeng's silver car slowed down instantly. Speed up, Lin Yan instructed. Sister Yan, there's a bend in the road ahead. He Lifeng blurted out. I told you to speed up. Lin Yan glared at He Lifeng coldly. If he wanted to continue playing like this, he could just admit defeat. He could be lacking in skills, but he had to be obedient. If his technique wasn't up to par and he didn't listen, then he would definitely lose this match. Alright, for some reason, He Lifeng felt a little fearful of Lin Yan. Boom! As soon as the car hit the accelerator, Silver's speed instantly reached its limit, and it chased after the car that was also on the mountain road ahead. Sister Yan, we're about to reach the bend in the mountain road. It's very dangerous. He Lifeng couldn't help but voice his doubts. Listen to me, Lin Yan replied coldly. He Lifeng sighed heavily. Forget it, I'm already last anyway, it doesn't matter. About 10 seconds later, He Lifeng's car caught up with Old Tang's team. The driver of Old Tang's team stuck his left hand out of the window and pointed his thumb downwards, as though he was mocking He Lifeng. F***CK. He Lifeng cursed. Surpass him, replied Lin Yan. How? He Lifeng frowned. Drive close to the mountain and turn 90 degrees to the right, Lin Yan instructed. Screw him. He Lifeng gritted his teeth and followed Lin Yan's instructions. Chapter 274. As He Lifeng's silver car was about to reach the mountain, the racer in front quickly steered his car to the right to prevent He Lifeng from overtaking him. The He family team and Old Tang's team had competed many times, so they had studied He Lifeng's style. He Lifeng's racing skills and equipment were the worst in the He family team. However, his style today was very different from before. He Lifeng had always been very cautious and steady on the track, especially during a rally. However, he had dared to overtake a car at a sharp bend in the mountain. Old Tang was bewildered. However, how could he let He Lifeng overtake him so easily? No. He won't let me. He Lifeng frowned and instinctively wanted to let go of the accelerator and give up on overtaking the car. Continue, Lin Yan hissed coldly. Ah. Sister Yan, if you continue, you will hit the car in front. He Lifeng blurted out anxiously. As a racer, He Lifeng naturally had his own judgment. Under such circumstances, there was no way he could overtake the car. Lin Yan was speechless, she was speechless. How could there be such a cowardly racer? Overtaking the car in front of him wasn't even considered a skill. Besides, Old Tang's racer was also a noob. He could overtake him with his eyes closed. There was no skill involved at all. He Lifeng was at the bottom of the pile, so it wasn't a loss at all. If you don't want grandfather's team to disband, listen to me. If you don't care about winning or losing, you can stop the car now. Lin Yan glanced at Helifeng coldly. Sister Yan. I'm begging you. Stop causing trouble. You don't know anything about racing. If you listen to what you said, there will be an accident. If anything happens on this mountain road, it will be a huge accident. Helifeng frowned. At that moment, Lin Yan sighed helplessly. Helifeng was holding the steering wheel. No matter how good she was, she didn't have control of the steering wheel. Besides, Helifeng wouldn't listen to her at all. Even if the emperor came, it would be futile. Helifeng couldn't be helped at all. He was rotten wood that couldn't be carved. Tsk tisk. Lin Yan glanced at Helifeng and sneered coldly. Xiaofeng, given your standard, it's no wonder you came last in this competition. Helifeng was startled when he heard Lin Yan. Sister Yan, what do you mean? Sister Yan, you don't know anything about racing. I can't risk my life just because I'm angry. Lin Yan shook her head and quipped, what's there to be angry about? This is about dignity. How could you remain indifferent when that car insulted you? Look at him. The right side of his car is at least 5 meters away from the mountain. How wide is your car? 5 meters? Before Helifeng could reply, Lin Yan chuckled softly. Forget it. Let me down after this lap. Your sister can't sit in this useless car. Sister Yan, you. How could you say that? Have you ever raced before? You don't know anything, so how could you order me around? He Lu was furious. I have never raced before, yet I dare to overtake him. Do you dare? Lin Yan sneered coldly. Chapter 275. Helifeng was infuriated when he heard Lin Yan. Why wouldn't I dare? How dare you? Why don't you overtake me then? Lin Yan glanced at Helifeng. I'll overtake you then. Helifeng gritted his teeth. With a loud roar, he stepped on the accelerator and sped forward. When the racer saw Helifeng's car in the rearview mirror, he was taken aback. Was he going to overtake him on the curve? Wasn't Helifeng afraid of death? The racer smirked coldly as he continued driving towards the mountain. Wherever Helifeng turned the steering wheel, the racer's car followed. He wanted to see how Helifeng would overtake him. Damn it! Helifeng cursed under his breath. The distance between the car and the mountain ahead had shrunk. Based on Helifeng's vision, there was no way for him to overtake the car on his left or right side. Wherever he turned the steering wheel, the car in front of him would move in that direction. He was in a deadlock. Enemies are bound to meet on a narrow road. Helifeng gritted his teeth. Old Tang's team always gets that bastard to block me. And then? Asked Lin Yan. And then? What then? He's faster than me every time. What can I do? I can't overtake him, replied Helifeng. No, I have to overtake him today. Helifeng gritted his teeth. How could he tolerate it when his cousin, who didn't know anything about racing, looked down on him? Although he wasn't good, he shouldn't be last every time. Helifeng's silver car was extremely fast. In the blink of an eye, it had caught up with the car ahead. Turn back, Lin Yan said suddenly. Turn back? Helifeng was startled. Won't we crash into him? Drive. Lin Yan grabbed Helifeng's steering wheel expressionlessly. Stop fooling around. Helifeng was startled. The moment Lin Yan grabbed the steering wheel, Helifeng didn't dare move. He was afraid that an accident would happen. Sister Yan, what are you doing? Let go. Helifeng broke out in cold sweat as he watched Lin Yan grab the steering wheel with her left hand. Separation. Lin Yan hissed coldly. Helifeng instinctively stepped on the clutch. Step on the brakes, Lin Yan instructed. Why did you step on the brakes at this speed? Helifeng eyed Lin Yan in astonishment. Right now, Lin Yan's left hand was controlling the steering wheel. He Lufeng didn't dare move the steering wheel, for fear that he would cause the car to flip. Besides, even if he had to step on the brakes, it would be better than Lin Yan grabbing the steering wheel. He Lufeng gritted his teeth and stepped on the accelerator. However, in the next second, He Lufeng was in disbelief. The moment he stepped on the brakes, the car moved forward steadily. The silver car made a beautiful 180-degree slide to the side. Let go of the brake, Lin Yan instructed. This time, He Lufeng instinctively obeyed Lin Yan and stepped on the accelerator. Whoosh! Old Tang and He Lufeng watched in disbelief as the front of the silver car drifted horizontally across the mountain. It didn't even give the car in front time to react before it overtook the car in front. Chapter 276. F***CK. What the hell is that? The driver of Old Tom's team, who had been blocking He Lufeng's way, stared in bewilderment as He Lufeng's silver car made a stunning flick. The front of the car drifted across the mountain. What's more, it had overtaken the car he was driving. Overtaken it. What was even more outrageous was that at that very moment, the silver racing car was actually drifting at an extremely high speed. How had he done that? This scene was rather familiar. He felt as though he had seen it somewhere before. In the VIP room, F***CK. Is He Lufeng really that awesome? Pei Yutong was flabbergasted when he saw the close-up of the camera. He jumped in fright. Wait a minute. This. Why does it look so familiar? Where have I seen it before? The ZH1 team member exclaimed in disbelief. The king of cars, Death Butcher's famous technique. Side horizontal drift? God Z sprang to his feet as he stared at the screen in disbelief. How? How is that possible? The ZH1 team members exchanged looks of disbelief. They knew very well what level He Lufeng was at. It was simply a joke that He Lufeng was able to execute such a skillful side horizontal drift with his standard. Coincidence? It must be a coincidence. One of the ZH1 team members exclaimed. He absolutely didn't believe that He Lufeng would be able to execute such a beautiful side horizontal drift. This level of drifting is extremely dangerous and there are many details. Especially when it comes to the accuracy of the steering wheel. It requires a terrifying level of mastery over the steering wheel. Otherwise, even if one is able to execute this side horizontal drift, it wouldn't be possible to execute it so perfectly. God Z frowned as he spoke. Hearing this, the crowd looked at each other. The officials seemed to be stunned by He Lufeng's silver car as well. They even replayed the scene in slow motion. The commentator's voice could be heard from the television. The commentator said, "We can see that the He family racer's silver car has executed a side horizontal drift. It was simply too beautiful." If she wasn't mistaken, the driver was He Lufeng from the He family team and his new navigator. We are no strangers to He Lufeng. In the previous competition, he was average. However, today's maneuver, as well as the perfect coordination between the accelerator and the brake, are simply amazing. The commentator said, "I don't know if everyone saw this, but the turn is about 80 meters long. He Lufeng is blocked by Old Tang's racer. He Lufeng slows down his car. After driving for about 40 meters, he completes the side horizontal drift in 5 seconds. There's a terrifying detail here. He Lufeng gave the car enough gas before executing the side horizontal drift. He overtook the car in front of him and completed the sharp turn. This distance is about 40 meters. The moment He Lufeng completed the sharp turn, the silver car went straight again. Isn't this similar to the famous move of the king of cars, Death Butcher's counterattack on God Pa during the first level of the international competition? Note, the relevant moves are purely fictional. Do not imitate them. Chapter 277. The commentator chuckled subconsciously when he mentioned the first level of the previous international competition. It was ridiculous to compare He Lifeng to a professional racer. The commentator said, everyone is familiar with Old Tang's racer, who was overtaken by He Lifeng just now. His name is Zhang Yi, and his ranking hasn't changed much since the last few races. One of them is last, while the other is second to last. This time, it seems like He Lifeng has redeemed himself and snatched Zhang Yi's place. I wonder if Zhang Yi will be able to reclaim his place. Alright, let's wait and see. In VIP Room 2, Wei Shufeng stared at the slow-motion video on the screen in shock and disbelief. He had watched the competition between Old Tang's team and the He family team many times, so he knew very well how good He Lifeng was. He was the racer that he despised the most. How could He Lifeng execute such a beautiful side horizontal drift? How was that possible? Ha ha ha. Qi Xiaoyuan guffawed as he eyed Wei Shufeng. I told you that the He family team would win this time. The key to their victory lies in He Lifeng. Wei Shufeng sneered coldly. It was just a coincidence. How could he have executed the side horizontal drift on his own? Wei Shufeng was filled with disdain for He Lifeng. Let's not talk about this first. Look at the side horizontal drift. Doesn't it look familiar? Qi Xiaoyuan asked softly. Indeed, I am. Wei Shufeng nodded. Of course not. This is the move that made Death Butcher famous. Qi Xiaoyuan quipped. I remember now. That's right. He Lifeng must have done it by accident, Wei Shufeng quipped. Ahem. You should think about who Death Butcher's disciple is. His master must have taught him that move. Qi Xiaoyuan hinted frantically. Wei Shufeng didn't seem to hear Qi Xiaoyuan's hint. He frowned as he stared at the screen. That's strange. It doesn't seem like a coincidence. What is going on? On the track, Lin Yan let go of He Lifeng as soon as they left the mountain and made a sharp turn. He Lifeng stared at Lin Yan in shock. What just happened? His head was spinning. Don't look at me. Look at the road. Lin Yan frowned. The racetrack was extremely complicated, and the speed of the car was fast. Things were changing rapidly, so He Lifeng didn't look at the road. Instead, he looked at the racer. That was a taboo for a racer. Oh my God. Sister Yen. I executed a side horizontal drift just now. It's really side horizontal drift. He Lifeng was so excited that his body was trembling. Lin Yan ignored He Lifeng and instructed him, stay on the left, jump, and turn right into the fourth gear. Lin Yan replied, the road widens. Speed up and travel 120 meters. Then, take a left turn in fourth gear. Step halfway on the accelerator. He Lifeng instinctively followed Lin Yan's instructions. In the end, he realized that the road ahead was exactly the same as Lin Yan had described. After a series of actions, He Lifeng actually overtook another opponent. He Lifeng was shocked. Didn't Sister Yen say that she had only gotten a navigator's license? How could he know a completely unfamiliar racetrack like the back of his hand? Chapter 278. A navigator was extremely important in rallying and cross-country racing. He was like the racer's second pair of eyes. If the navigator could fully understand the various conditions of the race route and combine it with the racer's own condition to guide the racer accurately during the racer would be like a tiger with wings. However, there were too few navigators at this level, especially in the country. Many people even thought that a navigator was just reading the newspaper to the racer. He had never met such a professional navigator in real-life competitions. If he had to say, it would have to be on TV. He had seen it on TV during the international competition. Something's not right. Suddenly, He Lifeng seemed to realize something. He looked shocked. That side horizontal drift just now. It wasn't me. He Lifeng was shocked as he stared at Lin Yan, who was sitting calmly on the passenger seat. He had listened to Lin Yan's instructions when they had made the sharp turn. First, he had reversed the direction, stepped on the clutch and brakes, and finally, he had given the accelerator to the end. Now that he thought about it, every step and every detail had nothing to do with him at all. Most importantly, Lin Yan had been sitting in the passenger seat, looking straight ahead and holding the steering wheel with her left hand. Lin Yan had been the one who had done everything. All he had done was step on the brakes and give the accelerator to the end. Lin Yan had asked him to do that. Sister Yan, you. He Lifeng was shocked beyond words. Don't look at me. Lin Yan glanced at He Lifeng impatiently. Look at the road. How many times had she said that? How many times had He Lifeng glanced at her from the moment he had gotten into the car? She was really courting death. Lin Yan swore that her cousin, He Lifeng, was the worst racer she had ever coached. He was so bad that it made her hair stand on end. He was a lunatic who couldn't be helped. If Death Butcher and Lang Mang had been like He Lifeng, Lin Yan would have kicked them to death. Lin Yan repeatedly told herself that he was her biological cousin. Her biological cousin, oh. He Lifeng nodded and looked ahead. He didn't dare look at Lin Yan anymore. Sister Yan, just now. No. It wasn't me. Sister Yan, you completed the side horizontal drift. How did you do it? It's amazing. He Lifeng sounded excited. Although this side horizontal drift had nothing to do with him and had nothing to do with him, at least he had participated in it. At the very least, he had stepped on the brakes and stepped on the accelerator. Lin Yan ignored He Lifeng and continued. Shift to 5th gear, turn left, and jump 80 meters. Shift to 4th gear, turn right, and turn left. Accelerate to the maximum and maintain a straight line. Oh. He Lifeng hurriedly followed Lin Yan's instructions. The road is getting narrower. Shift to 2nd gear. Shift to 3rd gear and turn to the right. Shift to 4th gear and turn to the left. Lin Yan gazed ahead. He Lifeng swallowed hard. He didn't dare question Lin Yan's orders anymore. Lin Yan's instructions were precise and precise. She was definitely a professional. This kind of navigator was the dream of every racer. However, he suddenly realized that it would be a waste to have such a navigator with his standards. It would be such a waste. Sister Yan, who exactly are you? He Lifeng exclaimed in shock. You don't know me? Lin Yan raised an eyebrow and glanced at him. No. I mean. Forget it. I don't know what to say. Sister Yan, just tell me how to drive. I'll listen to you. He Lifeng replied hastily. Thanks to Lin Yan's guidance, he managed to overtake 4 cars in a row. 3 of them were from the He family team and 1 from Old Tang's team. Old Master He Dingkuan's eyes drifted to He Lifeng's car. Chapter 279. He's in 4th place? He Dingkuan looked puzzled, as he couldn't understand what was going on. He Dingkuan was well aware of He Lifeng's abilities. Otherwise, he wouldn't have given him the worst car. Xiaofeng's luck is that good? He Xiong asked. Something must have happened to the cars behind him, He Dingkuan said thoughtfully. Apart from that, there was no other explanation. He Lifeng didn't have a navigator. Even if he did, it would be a miracle for him to reach 4th place on his own given his standard. There were 3 cars ahead of He Lifeng. 2 of them belonged to Old Tang's team, while the other belonged to He Mingkai. He Mingkai's car was right in front of He Lifeng's. The 1st and 2nd place belonged to Old Tang's team, and they were about to finish their first lap. Lin Yan studied the road ahead and fell into deep thought. He Lifeng had wasted too much time. At the starting point, he had started much later, especially when he had been hesitant at the sharp bend in the mountain. He had wasted a lot of time. The current situation wasn't ideal. Unless He Lifeng stopped his car and swapped places with her, He Lefeng would only be able to overtake He Mingkai, no matter how obedient he was. It wasn't realistic for him to claim first place. Sister Yan, we're going to lose. He Lefeng sighed helplessly. He Mingkai's car was still some distance away from them. Old Master He Dingkuan had planned for them to support He Mingkai and block all the cars that wanted to overtake him. However, He Mingkai was in third place, while He Lefeng was in fourth place. The cars behind them wouldn't be able to catch up. Only the first and second places of Old Tang's team would determine the outcome of this race. However, they were too far away, so they wouldn't be able to catch up. They couldn't possibly send He Lefeng to first place. There could only be one outcome. The He family team had lost this race. About 10 seconds later, He Lefeng's silver car had completed one lap and returned to the starting point. The two racers from Old Tang's team were already on their way to the second lap. Moreover, it was obvious that He Mingkai's driving skills were quite a distance away from the first and second place drivers in Old Tang's team. It was unrealistic to expect He Mingkai to catch up. It's over. He Lefeng looked indignant. Brake. Suddenly, Lin Yan, who was seated beside him, shouted. He Lefeng instinctively stepped on the brakes and stopped the silver car at the beginning of the first lap. Sister Yan, what's wrong? He Lefeng glanced at Lin Yan in confusion. Just wait here, replied Lin Yan expressionlessly. Ah. You're not running anymore? He Lefeng was taken aback. Don't say anything. Listen to me, replied Lin Yan. He Lefeng wanted to say something, but in the end, he nodded and didn't say anything else. After a few minutes, the few cars that He Lefeng had shaken off caught up with him again. Although they didn't know why He Lefeng's car had stopped, no one cared. A moment later, the television in the VIP hall showed a close-up of He Lefeng's car. The commentator said, He Lefeng's car has stopped moving completely. I don't know if there's a problem with his car, but he is now in last place again. This is strange. If there's a problem with his car, the driver should have reported it immediately and tried to fix it. However, this racer isn't doing anything. To be honest, this is the first time I've seen something like this. It's amazing. Chapter 280. In the VIP room, no one knew what had happened to He Lefeng. He Dingkuan frowned. What is Xiaofeng doing? Is there something wrong with the car? Why didn't you inform us? He Xiong looked puzzled as well. I didn't receive any notification. I don't think there's anything wrong with the car. Although we don't have a chance of winning, he shouldn't have stopped. Scoundrel. He Dingkuan was enraged. Even if they were going to lose, they had to finish the race. He Xiong adjusted the special channel of his walkie-talkie and contacted He Lefeng's car. Soon, He Xiong's voice rang out. He Lefeng, what are you doing? Why didn't you inform us that there was a problem with the car? He Lefeng, who was startled, replied instinctively, Uncle. There's nothing wrong with the car, there's nothing wrong? He Xiong bellowed. Why did you stop the car if there's nothing wrong? It was Sister Yan who asked me to stop. He Lefeng replied awkwardly. Actually, he didn't understand why Sister Yan had asked him to stop the car. What did you say? Lin Yan asked you to stop the car? He Xiong's expression changed as he bellowed, Who is she? Why did you stop the car just because she asked you to? He Lefeng, is there something wrong with your brain? She doesn't know anything. Why did you listen to her? Turn it off. It's too noisy. Lin Yan sounded annoyed. However, He Xiong heard Lin Yan's voice. Lin Yan, who told you to order He Lefeng around? You haven't even touched the steering wheel before. How dare you order him to stop the car? Do you think you're a professional navigator? He Xiong bellowed angrily. Why aren't you turning it off? Lin Yan glanced at He Lefeng. Oh. He Lefeng nodded and turned it off. Indeed, it was much quieter after he turned it off. ZH1 and Wei Shufeng didn't understand why Lin Yan had asked He Lufeng to stop the car. He Lufeng had initially been in 4th place. If he had maintained his position, he wouldn't have suffered a crushing defeat. However, he had fallen to the last place. Why did Yan ask Xiaofeng to stop the car? He Dingquan's face darkened. Dad, I already said that we shouldn't let this kind of person participate. She doesn't know shit. Originally, Xiaofeng could have been in 4th place, but she actually asked him to stop. Now, he's in last place again. What a joke, He Xiong sneered. Boom. At that moment, a rumbling sound came from behind the starting point. Lin Yan scanned the rearview mirror and grinned. He's here. What's coming? He Lufeng was confused. The first and second contestants are here, replied Lin Yan. Yeah, they're on their 3rd lap. We're only on our 1st lap. He Lufeng sighed heavily. Step on the accelerator and increase the speed to 40 kilometers per hour, instructed Lin Yan. Oh, okay. He Lufeng hurriedly operated. He Lufeng's silver car moved like a snail as it sped forward. When the first and second contestants of Old Tang's team approached them, Lin Yan grabbed He Lufeng's steering wheel with her right hand and blocked the path of the 2 cars. He Lufeng's silver car was like a plaster, sticking close to the 2 cars at the back. He didn't give them any chance to advance at all. Chapter 281. At the starting point, the 2 racers from Old Tang's team were frantically moving left and right, trying to shake off the silver car in front of them. Unfortunately, they couldn't shake it off no matter what they did. The silver car was right in front of them, maintaining a certain distance from them. Get lost. One of the racers bellowed, we are on the 3rd lap. You are on the 1st lap. Why are you blocking our way instead of running? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth curled into a faint smile. She had seen the rules of this rally clearly. It did not say that the vehicles in the 1st lap were prohibited from having any competitive or non-competitive contact with the vehicles in the 3rd lap. He Lufeng seemed to have understood something, and he looked even more astonished. He finally understood why his cousin had told him to stop at the starting point. It wasn't because they would definitely lose the race and not have to continue running, but because Mo Jean wanted to wait at the starting point for the 1st and 2nd place to finish the 3rd lap. Turn on the radio and tell grandfather to let He Mingkai overtake us from the right. He has to be fast, Lin Yan instructed He Lufeng. Okay. He Lufeng nodded and released his grip on the steering wheel. After all, Lin Yan was in charge of the steering wheel, so it had nothing to do with him. Grandfather, tell brother Mingkai to overtake them from the right on the 3rd lap. He has to be fast and don't slow down. He Lufeng hurriedly relayed Lin Yan's message to He Dingquan before he turned off the radio. Whoosh! In a matter of seconds, He Mingkai's car sped forward. He didn't slow down at all as he slammed into Lin Yan's car. Lin Yan swerved the steering wheel and overtook He Mingkai's car. The cameras zoomed in on this scene. All the people in the VIP rooms and the hall were discussing fervently. F***CK. What kind of competition is this? This strategy is too disgusting. A ZH1 racer muttered as he watched He Lufeng's car. I've lived for a long time. Everyone is on the last lap, while He Lufeng is on the 1st lap. How could he block the cars on the last lap? He is a genius. Pei Yutong exclaimed in admiration. This is against the rules. Godzi stared at the screen thoughtfully before he quipped, do you think it's because of the strategy? Captain, isn't it? If any of you, including me. Even if we use the same tactics, we won't be able to stop 2 cars at the same time. Godzi looked at the screen and inhaled sharply. More than 7 cars had been stopped by the silver car. Old Tang's team and another team had been stopped. Only the He family team was allowed to pass. Following Godzi's explanation, everyone in the VIP lounge fell silent. How shameless. Wei Shufeng muttered as he stared at the silver car on the screen. What do you mean by shameless? This is a tactic. Qi Xiaoyuan frowned. Hee, the rules of this competition aren't perfect. Otherwise, it would be against the rules. Wei Shufeng shook his head. You're too despicable when you're not strong enough. You're too shameless. He Dinkuan and He Xiong were focused on He Mingkai. They knew that He Lufeng was blocking the car, but their attention wasn't on He Lufeng's car. Chapter 282. Dad, Mingkai is in first place. He Xiong exclaimed excitedly. Hearing this, He Dinkuan's eyes lit up with excitement as he nodded. The other two cars are in second and third place. As long as we can hold on for the last lap, we will win. At the starting point, Lin Yan suddenly turned the steering wheel and instructed He Lufeng to step on the brakes. Sister Yan, aren't we going to stop them? Asked He Lufeng anxiously. No need. Lin Yan shook her head. They won't be able to catch up even if they chase after them. Indeed, He Mingkai and the others were about to finish the fourth lap. Move to the right and reverse, Lin Yan instructed suddenly. Okay. Although He Lufeng didn't know why Lin Yan was doing this, he instinctively obeyed her without any doubts. Soon, He Lufeng reversed the car away from the starting point. Lin Yan didn't say anything, so He Lufeng kept reversing. A few minutes later, when He Mingkai's car passed them on the left, Lin Yan instructed He Lufeng to stop and follow He Mingkai's car. Sister Yan, what do you mean? Can you tell me? He Lufeng asked curiously. He Mingkai's tires are about to burst, Lin Yan replied expressionlessly. Huh? He Lufeng's expression changed. As expected, He Lufeng glanced at He Mingkai's car and noticed that the tires were deformed. However, He Xiong seemed to have given him a warning. Hence, He Mingkai's car wasn't going very fast. Anyway, they were nearing the finish line. Bang! About a few breaths later, He Mingkai's car had a flat tire and skidded to the right. He was about 70 to 80 meters away from the finish line. Crash his car, Lin Yan instructed him. Okay. He Lufeng stepped on the accelerator, but he didn't go very fast. He used the front of his car to block He Mingkai's car and drove steadily to the finish line. In no time, He Mingkai's car reached the finish line. He was the first racer to reach the finish line. The second and third cars of the He family team followed closely behind, reaching the finish line at the same time. He Mingkai opened the car door and walked over to He Lufeng angrily. Xiaofeng, why did you hit my car? Brother Mingkai. I was afraid that old Tang's car would overtake you, so I sent you to the finish line, explained He Lufeng. Bullshit, I'm only 70 to 80 meters away from the finish line. Do I need you to send me? He Mingkai sneered. Did you see that you finished last again, so you were upset and wanted to find some sense of existence? Did you think that my first place would be related to the two of you because I had a flat tire and knocked me in? He Lufeng was speechless. Lin Yan glanced at He Mingkai but didn't bother with him. She had sent him to the finish line for the old master's sake. If He Mingkai's tires had exploded and old Tang's team had caught up, it would have been a draw. Otherwise, Lin Yan wouldn't have bothered with him. Before long, old master He Dinkuan and He Xiong rushed over. Well done, Mingkai. He Xiong patted He Mingkai's shoulder excitedly. Dad, I told you that it wouldn't be a problem. Leave it to me. He Mingkai grinned. Mingkai, not bad. He Dinkuan gazed at He Mingkai, looking gratified. Chapter 283. Grandfather, He Lufeng furrowed his brows. What did He Mingkai have to do with winning this race? If it hadn't been for his cousin, they would have lost this race. However, no one spared a glance at Lin Yan and He Lufeng. Lin Yan shook her head at He Lufeng. As long as they won this race, her grandfather would be happy. she would have achieved her goal. It didn't matter who won the race. Lin Yan, Heilifeng, what were the two of you doing? Lin Yan, especially you. You don't know anything. Why did you ask Heilifeng to stop? He Xiong bellowed at them. Everyone fell silent as they turned to look at Lin Yan and Heilifeng. The He family racers' eyes were filled with disdain. One of them was at the bottom, while the other was just there to make up the numbers. Indeed, they had finished the fourth round, while they had only finished the first round. Uncle, if Sister Yen hadn't stopped the car, would Brother Mingkai and the others have made it to the finish line? Heilifeng looked indignant. What a joke. He Mingkai stepped forward. What **t reason are you looking for? If you are last, you should just practice your driving skills. How can excuses improve your skills? If it hadn't been for us, would the team have won? You? And her? Brother Mingkai. You? Heilifeng's face was ashen. He Mingkai and the others had been focused on driving, so they hadn't seen it clearly. However, if they had watched the replay, they would have known immediately. If it hadn't been for his cousin, they would have been nothing. How could they have won? They would have run a marathon instead. The reason they had finished last was because his cousin had sacrificed herself to protect the overall situation. Who was the one who didn't know anything? Alright, Xiaofeng. As long as we won, the result is more important. Lin Yan glanced at Heilifeng and chuckled softly. Lin Yan had no intention of competing in a competition of this level. She felt as though she was a child playing house. If she were to compete in a competition of this level, she wouldn't be able to return alive. Let me tell you. Get lost from now on. Don't ever come back to the old mansion. Luckily, you're Heilifeng's navigator. I've never heard of a navigator telling a racer to stop when the car and the road are in good condition. He Xiong glared at Lin Yan coldly. You're just an ignorant person, yet you're here to cause trouble for us. I think you can't wait for the He family to perish. All right. Old Master He Dingkuan glared at He Xiong. What do you mean by that? Xiaoyan is here to help. She doesn't know anything about racing and it's her first time sitting in the front passenger seat. It's understandable that she asked Xiaofeng to stop. Dad. He Xiong frowned. That's enough. Just remember that we've won. Nothing else matters. He Dingkuan said. Suddenly, God Zi, Pei Yutong, and the rest arrived. Congratulations. God Zi smiled. Seeing this, He Xiong and the old man hurried forward. Ha ha. God Zi, Mingkai didn't let ZH1 down, did he? He Xiong grinned. God Zi, not bad. God Zi smiled awkwardly. Oh yeah, since the competition is over, we would like to have a race. Old Master He and the He family team can be witnesses. God Zi's eyes trailed to Lin Yan, who was fully equipped. Chapter 284. He wants to race with God Zi. He Xiong was startled as his eyes trailed to He Mingkai. Was God Zi going to test his son? Well, one lap is enough. ZH1 will race with all of us. God Zi grinned. Ha ha. God Zi, how could Mingkai possibly outrun you? However, it's God Zi's honor that he thinks so highly of Mingkai. He Xiong patted He Mingkai's shoulder. Mingkai, thank God Zi for giving you this opportunity. ZH1 will race with all of you. You're so lucky to be able to race with a top team like ZH1. The old master, He Dingkuan, was excited as well. This was an honor for him and the entire He family team. God Zi's expression turned odd as he realized that the old master and He Xiong had misunderstood him. He wanted to race with Lin Yan and He Mingkai. None of the ZH1 team members would be interested in it, however, these were Lin Yan's relatives, so God Zi and the others couldn't say what they were thinking. They could only let them continue to misunderstand. It would be too awkward if they explained themselves. In that case, Minkai will race with us and the He family team will send another racer. What do you think? Godzi grinned. Sure. Godzi, you can choose anyone you like. He Xiong replied hastily. Godzi glanced at Lin Yen without hesitation and grinned. Let's go with her. Her. As soon as Legend Z finished speaking, the anticipation on the faces of the He family team members vanished instantly. How could they let a woman who didn't know anything, who had never even touched a steering wheel, compete with ZH1? God Z. Do you want to choose another racer? He Xiong frowned. There's no need. God Z grinned. She will be the one. God Z, my granddaughter is a navigator, not a racer. Why don't we? He Dinkuan tried to persuade him. Old master, it's fine. She will be the one, God Z replied. If they continued to reject God Z's request, it would be counterproductive. The old master had no choice but to agree. Xiaoyan, slow down. Just run. Don't go too fast. The old master strode over to Lin Yen and instructed her softly. He Dinkuan was afraid that something would happen to Lin Yen. Lin Yen was speechless. She hadn't agreed to run, had she? She really had no interest in this kind of racetrack. He Xiong glanced at Lin Yen and sneered coldly. Xiaoyan, these are all top racers in the country. You really benefited from Minkai. I'm afraid no one will believe you if you race with them. Forget it, Dad. She doesn't have any hope of winning the race. Just let her run slowly behind us. Don't worry about her. He Minkai glanced at Lin Yen with a stoic expression. Pei Yutong's gaze landed on He Minkai and his son as though he was looking at fools. He just hoped that they wouldn't be so scared that they would kneel on the ground when he started running. Miss Lin, please. Godzi laughed. Lin Yen was speechless. Was this forcing a duck onto a perch? However, since things had already come to this point, if she didn't run away, it would seem unreasonable. All right then, let's finish this quickly. Lin Yen shrugged. Lin Yen didn't waste any time. She opened the door and got into the driver's seat. As for the ZH1 team members, they drove their exclusive team car into the venue and parked it at the starting point. Update ended. Updated 11 times. Happy Mid-Autumn Festival babies. Below this chapter, 5 babies will get a canvas bag and 5 babies will get a pillow. Chapter 285. The ZH1 team members glanced at each other bitterly as they watched Lin Yen enter the car. Why did they have to race with her? They really couldn't beat her. Not far away, He Minkai had switched to another car. Just as the ZH1 team members were about to get into their cars, a middle-aged man in a suit strode over to Lin Yen's car. He knocked on the car door as everyone stared at him in bewilderment. Lin Yen rolled down the window and glanced at the smiling man with a puzzled expression. Hello, madam. The middle-aged man greeted her with a smile. You are? Asked Lin Yen. Can you let me in? I would like to talk to you, madam, the middle-aged man explained. Lin Yen opened the door and watched as the middle-aged man entered. Madam, you can call me Martin, the middle-aged man said politely. Lin Yen. Lin Yen introduced herself. Nice to meet you, Miss Lin. The middle-aged man nodded. Mr. Martin, may I know why you are looking for me? I'm busy with the competition. Lin Yen glanced at Martin, looking puzzled. Miss Lin, your competition isn't that important. Miss Lin is also a member of the racing industry, so you should know that there's going to be a movie about the racing industry being filmed overseas, right? Martin said with a smile. The one based on Lang Mang? Lin Yen pondered. She had heard about it before. That's right. Martin nodded. Miss Lin, to tell you the truth, I think your appearance and figure are very suitable for a character in this movie. I wonder if Miss Lin is interested in giving it a try. Suitable for who? Lin Yen blurted out instinctively. I'm sure you're familiar with this role, Miss Lin. If you succeed in the audition, I'm sure you'll be proud of your role. She's the fastest racer on the planet, the racetrack's Grim Reaper. Yeva. Oh, Lin Yen replied expressionlessly. Martin was taken aback by Lin Yan's nonchalant expression. This was the racetrack's Grim Reaper. Why didn't she look excited or excited? Lin Yan had never imagined that she would be able to get a job by participating in a competition. However, she wasn't interested in acting as herself. It wasn't challenging at all. About 5 minutes of footage, but the salary is close to 7 digits. Are you sure you don't want to consider it? Martin continued. Mr. Martin, I think that this role belongs to me. It's tailor-made for me. Lin Yen stood up abruptly and knocked her head against the roof of the car. Martin, just a moment ago, he had been so calm and uninterested. Come, Mr. Martin, come out. Lin Yen rubbed her temples as she swiftly opened the car door and got out. When Martin got out of the car, Lin Yen stepped on the hood and chuckled softly. Mr. Martin, what do you think? Do I look like him? Miss Lin, do you still want to compete? One of the ZH1 members glanced at Lin Yen in confusion. What was Lin Yen talking to this middle-aged man about? Go, go, go. Chapter 286. Lin Yen ignored the ZH1 team members. She gazed at Martin and chuckled softly. Mr. Martin, I'm sure I'm the best candidate. Do you think I look like her? Martin studied Lin Yen thoughtfully. I don't think you look like her. I don't think Yeva would be this violent, however, I don't know much about the racing industry. I'm only in charge of casting in the country. The auditions are conducted by professionals, but I can give you a chance to audition. Lin Yen was speechless. If he didn't know much about Yeva, why would he say anything? However, for the sake of the 7-figure salary, she had to swallow her pride. Mr. Martin, to be honest, besides being a racer, I'm also a professional actress. It would be perfect for me to act in this role. Oh yeah, do you think it would be difficult for me to audition? Lin Yen grinned at Martin. Martin took a few steps back and scrutinized Lin Yen. Then, he nodded and said, I've watched Yeva's videos. I think that Miss Lin's appearance is suitable for the role, but it will be difficult for you to pass the audition. That's because there are already more than 1,000 people who have qualified for the audition in Hua Nation. Moreover, according to the latest news I've received, a very famous actress in Hua Nation has also qualified for the audition, and she is very popular. Popular? Lin Yen was startled. Who is it? Martin pondered for a moment before he replied, I think her name is. Oh, she has the same surname as you. Her name is Lin Shuya. Lin Yan's eyes gleamed coldly when she heard Martin. Lin Shuya? The racetrack's Grim Reaper? She wasn't fit to do that. If it hadn't been for Lin Shuya, the racetrack's Grim Reaper wouldn't have been banned from competing. Actually, Lin Shuya hadn't known that Lin Yen was the racetrack's Grim Reaper. When Lin Shuya had visited her overseas, Lin Yen had never mentioned it to her. Hence, Lin Shuya had only known that Yeva was a famous racer with a decent income. She had never imagined that her sister was the racetrack's Grim Reaper. Miss Lin, if nothing goes wrong, Lin Shuya will eventually get the role of the racetrack's Grim Reaper. However, I think that Lin Shuya isn't a racer, so I think that I still stand a chance. That's why I've been watching competitions these days. I want to find female racers who look similar to the racetrack's Grim Reaper. After all, if the producers use the racers I pick, I'll be paid handsomely. Martin explained honestly. Lin Yen was speechless. After a long time, he turned out to be a crew member who cast a wide net, similar to a talent scout. For a big production, there were hundreds of people like Martin, who were looking for suitable candidates everywhere, but they had no right to speak. At most, they would give an audition. How many similar ones have you found? Asked Lin Yan angrily. Martin chuckled. If you include Miss Lin, there are more than a dozen of them. Actually, I'm just trying my luck. After all, Lin Shia is very famous in the country and she looks like the racetrack's Grim Reaper. So, the corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she studied Martin. This fellow was really honest. All right, Miss Lin. This is my name card. If you have made up your mind, you can try your luck. Martin shoved a name card into Lin Yan's hand when she wasn't paying attention. Then, he left without looking back. Chapter 287. As she watched Martin leave, Lin Yan wished that she could pull out a 50-meter sword and hack him to death. Was he kidding her? Xiaoyan, what's wrong? The old master, He Dingkuan, strode forward and asked. Lin Yan shook her head. Grandfather, it's nothing. However, before the old master could say anything, a sudden rumble was heard from behind. In the next second, several red supercars entered everyone's sight. God Z and the ZH1 team members were alarmed when they saw the red cars. One of the red supercars swerved and kicked up a cloud of dust that landed on Lin Yan's body. Lin Yan coughed to clear her throat and frowned at the red sports car. Soon, a few red supercars came to a stop, and several young men got out of the cars. WW. The old master, He Dingkuan, and He Xiong were startled when they saw them. F***CK. Sister Yan, it's the WW team. He Lifeng blurted out anxiously. WW? Lin Yan was puzzled. Lin Yan wasn't familiar with the national teams. Sister Yan, you don't even know what WW is? He Lifeng peered at Lin Yan and explained softly, WW is one of the top teams in the country. They were defeated by ZH1 in the first level of the international competition. Recently, WW got a new captain and they have won the third level of the international competition 3 times in a row. Oh. Lin Yan fell into deep thought. The third level of the international competition. She had never heard of it before, so she wasn't sure. She wouldn't even be able to name a few famous players from the second level of the international competition. God Z, why did you come here to hide from us? A young man with a buzz cut, who was wearing sunglasses, sneered coldly at God Z. What's the matter? Asked God Z, of course. The young man sneered coldly. I'm issuing a challenge to ZH1. WW is challenging ZH1. Mumu and the other ZH1 team members had ugly expressions on their faces. There were a few hundred teams that had signed up for the third level of the international competition. They would draw lots and compete in pairs. ZH1 had been preparing for the third level of the international competition for a long time. They only needed to win one more match to enter the third level of the international competition. However, there was an additional rule in the third level of the international championship. The teams also had the right to challenge. As long as 2 teams had the same points and were in the same class, they could challenge each other. In the previous third level of the international competition, ZH1 had personally sent WW out of the track. WW bore a grudge against them, so they were here to seek revenge. As long as they defeated ZH1, ZH1 would not be qualified to participate in the third level of the international competition. What do you mean by this? Are you still holding a grudge because you lost to them in the first level of the international competition? One of the ZH1 players bellowed. Heh, what a joke. It's up to you whether you agree to the competition or not. We're not forcing you, are we? The young man with the brush cut laughed. The young man was right. They had the right to challenge, and ZH1 had the right to reject. As they spoke, many members of the media, who were focused on the racing program, were led into the venue by the staff. God Z frowned when he saw so many reporters. WW had come prepared. They had invited so many reporters. If they didn't accept the challenge, wouldn't people think that they were afraid of WW? They were obviously forcing them to accept. God ZH1 hasn't lost a single race this year. Is it because of the rules? Or is it because ZH1 is lucky that they haven't met a top team like WW? One of the reporters looked at God Z and asked. God Z, why did ZH1 come to watch a small race like the He family team today? Or are they trying to avoid WW's challenge? God Z, what does ZH1 have to say about WW's challenge? Do they accept or reject it? Chapter 288. God Z, Zhang Hao joined the team this year and is the captain. Is this the reason why ZH1 doesn't dare to accept the challenge? Are they afraid of losing and not being able to compete in the third level of the international competition? God Z couldn't help but frown at the questions from the reporters. They had come prepared. If they accepted the challenge, it would be almost impossible for ZH1 to win against Zhang Hao, who had won the first level 3 times in a row. However, if they didn't accept the challenge, ZH1's reputation in the racing industry would plummet. ZH1's huge fan base would be disappointed, which was unacceptable to ZH1. God Z, is ZH1 afraid of challenging them? Are they only able to bully a little girl? One of the reporter's eyes landed on Lin Yan, who was standing next to the silver car. That's right. We saw that the entire ZH1 team wanted to compete with the He family. What's going on? Is ZH1 good at bullying the weak and not fighting back? He Dingkuan's expression changed slightly. What did this have to do with the He family team? Besides, ZH1 wanted to recruit He Mingkai. That was why they wanted to test his abilities. Madam, were you competing with the ZH1 team? Suddenly, a reporter walked over to Lin Yan and asked. Lin Yan was wearing a helmet, so her face couldn't be seen clearly. However, her eyes were bright. Lin Yan glanced at the reporter. Had he paid her yet? How could he use her as a weapon without paying her? Yeah. Lin Yan chuckled softly. All the reporters looked as though they had expected this. We are in the midst of a training competition. We are preparing to compete against a racing team. Lin Yan's tone changed abruptly. Even the He family team, ZH1's God Z, and the rest of the reporters were flabbergasted by Lin Yan's words. How could she say something like that? Wasn't Lin Yan forcing ZH1 to do something beyond their abilities? Captain, God Z said that we are too weak and that we can train with the He family team, Lin Yan added. We can train with the He family team. Everyone glanced at each other. God Z and the other ZH1 members stared at Lin Yan in astonishment. What did she mean? God Z also said that such a team isn't worthy of him. Hence, he asked the He family team to accept the challenge, replied Lin Yan. Yen. Old Master He Dingkuan frowned. Isn't this nonsense? What does she want to do? He Xiong said angrily. Purposely humiliating the He family in public, putting aside the fact that there was no suspense in the outcome of the competition, it was impossible for He Jiahe to accept it. Furthermore, if they accepted it, they would definitely be attacked by the He family team's fans after they lost the competition. This kind of scam was the most despised behavior in the industry. The so-called collusion referred to a low-level team like the He family team competing with the top teams in the country in order to raise their reputation. This was called collusion. If they accepted it and won the competition, they would soar to the top. However, if they lost, they would be despised by the racing industry. Old Master He Dingkuan cared about his reputation more than anything else, so it would be better for the He family team to disband. All the media's cameras were trained on Lin Yan. This was the first time they had heard such arrogant words. How arrogant! Madam, you are a member of the He family team, right? Do you know that this is considered a scam by the He family team? Chapter 289. Lin Yan cocked her head and glanced at the reporters. Actually, they weren't lying. In the past, it wasn't rare for a team to try to scam them. A low-level team like the He family team didn't belong to the same world as the WW team in every aspect. However, Lin Yan had her own motives for saying that. Winning this competition would be like trying to put out a burning cart of firewood with a cup of water. It was far from enough. She had to use some special methods. She hadn't expected that WW would come knocking on her door. Not only would she be able to help ZH1 out of their predicament, but she would also be able to boost the He family team's reputation. She would be able to fulfill her grandfather's dream. However, it wouldn't be easy for the He family team to compete with WW. She would need ZH1's cooperation. He Xiong and the rest of the He family team members were glaring at Lin Yan coldly. This woman was trying to drag the He family team into the abyss. Many years ago, racketeering had been considered a tactic. However, as time passed, people looked down on racketeering. Even though it had become famous, it was merely a curse. Nowadays, racketeering had become a thing of the past. The last time a racketeering had happened in the capital city had been 2 years ago. A small team had tried to scam KO, one of the most prestigious teams in the capital city. However, it had attracted the wrath of the entire racing industry. Eventually, the sponsor had withdrawn, and the senior management had been fired. Due to the immense pressure from the public, the team had been disbanded. However, no one had expected that the He family team, which couldn't even be compared to the small team from 2 years ago, would encounter WW's elite team. Miss, the He family team is really shameless. A reporter stared at Lin Yan and sneered coldly. Even if the He family team had wanted to scam KO, they should have done it with a team of a similar level. They shouldn't have done it so blatantly. Instead, they had gone crazy trying to make a name for themselves. Everyone, actually, the old master, He Dingkuan, stepped forward, his forehead perspiring profusely. Actually, WW's team isn't that good. I don't think they are as good as us. Lin Yan grinned at him. He Dingkuan glanced at Lin Yan in displeasure. Did she know that what she had said today was enough to drag the He family team into the abyss and consign them to eternal damnation? Yes, this lady is absolutely right. Before He Dingkuan could reply, Old Tang strode over with a briefcase under his arm. Hello, everyone. I'm the boss of Old Tang's team. The He family team has competed with us 7 times this year and lost 6 times. We were lucky to win this time. With such a weak team, we are going to disband soon. Perhaps we might be able to come back from the dead if we try our luck before we die. After all, in this day and age, as long as there is popularity and fame, you can make money. Old Tang sneered coldly as he glanced at Lin Yan. It was this damned navigator from the He family. If it hadn't been for her, how could Old Tang's team have lost? He Dingkuan and He Xiong hadn't paid any attention to her, but he had been watching the silver car the entire time. He had even managed to obtain the recording of He Lifeng's car. Initially, he had found it strange that He Lifeng, who had been at the bottom of the pack, had performed so well and lifted the He family team up. However, after listening to the recording, he realized that it was all because of this girl. She was a professional navigator. Chapter 290. Although this girl didn't know how to drive a race car, her theoretical knowledge and professional navigator skills were incredible. If she hadn't been He Dingkuan's granddaughter, he would have tried to poach her to join Old Tang's team. Old Tang scrutinized Lin Yan from head to toe. Since he couldn't poach her, he would destroy her completely. Fortunately, this girl might be a good navigator, but there was something wrong with her brain. That was why she had tried to blackmail WW. If she hadn't tried to blackmail WW, he wouldn't have been able to think of a way to destroy the He family team. However, who would have thought that the He family team would be digging their own grave? He couldn't stop them at all. Old Tang didn't give the reporters a chance to ask any questions. He waved his hand and left without a second glance. He Xiong glowered at Lin Yen. That B** starred. She and her mother were bloodsuckers for the He family. Instead of bringing glory to their family, they wanted to destroy the He family. Everyone, please listen to me. This is a misunderstanding. He Xiong hurried forward. Misunderstanding? What's there to misunderstand? Your He family's team member has already spoken clearly. Exactly. Isn't she part of the He family team? This. He Xiong didn't know what to say. Lin Yen had indeed competed as a navigator of the He family team. Ha ha. Suddenly, the young man with the buzz cut sneered coldly at God Z. I didn't expect ZH1 to be in such a pathetic state. They didn't dare accept the challenge themselves, but they sent a small team to blackmail them. Before God Z could speak, the young man's eyes landed on Lin Yen. You don't have the right to compete with WW. We don't have the right? The corners of Lin Yan's mouth curled up as she glanced at God Z. If the He family team is ZH1's substitute team, then we should have the right. Everyone's eyes darted to God Z. God Z wasn't just the captain of ZH1. He was also one of the bosses. If God Z agreed, then the He family team would indeed have the right to represent ZH1. Of course, if the He family team lost, ZH1 would have to pay the same price. ZH1 wouldn't be able to participate in the third level of the international competition. God Z, is the He family team the second substitute team of ZH1? A reporter asked anxiously. God Z furrowed his brows in silence. Trust me. Lin Yen strode over to God Z and patted his shoulder gently. God Z's eyes met Lin Yan's. After some time, God Z seemed to have made an important decision. He glanced at the reporters and said, yes, today, ZH1 was in a dilemma. They couldn't accept the challenge, but they couldn't reject it either. If they accepted it, they would fail and miss out on the third level of the international competition. However, if they rejected it, they wouldn't be able to bear the consequences. However, if it was Lin Yen, perhaps there would be a chance of survival. He didn't want to gamble, but at this time, he had no choice but to gamble. As Legend Z's voice fell, the audience burst into an uproar. That's interesting. ZH1 is a prestigious team, yet they are helping a small team to scam WW. Are they trying to disgust us? The young man sneered coldly. Before he could retort, Lin Yan's eyes gleamed brightly as she said, so, the He family team will accept WW's challenge. Finally, the competition was decided. The reporters were in an uproar. Chapter 291. After the competition ended, Wei Shufeng and Qi Xiaoyuan walked out of the VIP hall. Ha ha ha. I won. Remember to give me boss's autographed photo. Qi Xiaoyuan exclaimed excitedly. There had been no suspense in this competition. In contrast to Qi Xiaoyuan's glee, Wei Shufeng's face was as black as the bottom of a pot. This is impossible. How could the He family have won? He Mingkai and He Lefeng aren't that capable. The rest of the team members are trash too. They couldn't have been of any help at all. He Lefeng would never have been able to replicate the Death Butcher's technique even if he trained for another 800 years. As for his shameless tactics, even if he wanted to play tricks and block the first two racers, he would have to be capable of doing so. You have to know that the skills of the two racers in first and second place are much better than He Lefeng's. How did he manage to stop both of them at the same time? How did he allow He Mingkai to clinch first place? Most of the cameras were focused on the seated racers. There were very few shots of the He family. He Mingkai had suddenly clinched the championship. This outcome had surprised both Wei Shufeng and everyone else. Now that He Mingkai had clinched the championship, all the fans and the media were curious. After the competition, the organizing committee and the organizers would definitely release a complete version of how He Mingkai had clinched the championship. Only then would they know how he Mingkai had clinched the championship. Qi Xiaoyuan almost blurted out as he listened to Wei Shufeng's analysis. Don't think too much about it. Yeva had merely helped the He family. Could the problem lie with He Lifeng's female navigator? Wei Shufeng muttered to himself. In this competition, the only uncertainty in the He family seemed to be He Lifeng's new navigator, the woman who resembled Boss. Qi Xiaoyuan was a little excited. Had this kid finally figured it out? Suddenly, Wei Shufeng's face darkened. That's impossible. That woman is probably just a pretty face. There was a bad phenomenon in the racing industry. Female racers were rare to begin with. Many racers hired a few beautiful female racers to hype up their teams. In reality, they weren't capable at all. Qi Xiaoyuan was completely speechless. Wei Shufeng, stop wasting time. Accept reality. If you really can't bear to part with that autographed photo, you can give me the necklace on your neck. I won't have any objections. As Qi Xiaoyuan spoke, his eyes sparkled as he stared at the round token hanging around Wei Shufeng's neck. Compared to the autographed photo, he was actually more interested in the necklace that Yeva had worn. It was all his fault that he had been one step slower than Wei Shufeng. He hadn't known that Boss would be attending the charity dinner that night. Otherwise, this fellow wouldn't have taken advantage of her. But it didn't matter. He was the only fan who had seen the Boss in person. Dream on. Wei Shufeng spat at Qi Xiaoyuan. Qi Xiaoyuan replied, Hey, Wei Shufeng, you have to admit that you lost the bet. Are you going to go back on your word? Wei Shufeng retorted, Nonsense. The He family is the one who is shameless. They must have used some dirty tricks. The two of them were quarreling as they walked, when they bumped into someone. Lin Yan removed her helmet when she saw that there was no one else around. She raised her head and saw two familiar figures walking out of the VIP hall. One of them was the staff member, while the other one was Wei Shufeng. Chapter 292. Boss. Qi Xiaoyuan almost blurted out the moment he saw Lin Yan. Fortunately, he managed to restrain himself in time. Wei Shufeng, who hadn't expected to see Lin Yan here, stared at her face in shock. Lin Yan? His eyes scanned Lin Yan's silver uniform and the He family logo on it. His face darkened. You're He Lifeng's navigator? Wei Shufeng had never imagined that He Lifeng's navigator, who resembled his boss, would be Lin Yan. Lin Yan's face fell when she saw Wei Shufeng. Enemies were bound to meet on a narrow road, ahem. Young Master Wei, what a coincidence. Lin Yan greeted him perfunctorily. Wei Shufeng studied Lin Yan's silver uniform and found it an eyesore. He sneered coldly and said, What a coincidence. Lin Yan. Are you stalking me again? Lin Yan replied, Huh? Didn't I warn you not to imitate Yeva just to get close to me? How dare a person like you race? How dare you wear that color? Wei Shufeng glared at Lin Yan as though he wanted to burn her clothes. The corners of Lin Yan's mouth twitched as she replied helplessly, Young master, are you suffering from persecutory delusions? Are you trying to play hard to get with me? Tell me then. Why did you sneak into the He family's team? Wei Shufeng looked as though he had seen through her. Lin Yan raised an eyebrow. This team belongs to my grandfather. Is there a problem with me helping him? Wei Shufeng quipped, I didn't expect you to make use of your grandfather. Lin Yan was speechless. At this moment, Qi Xiaoyuan was completely stunned as he listened to the conversation between the two of them. He finally recalled why Lin Yan had looked so familiar. Lin Yan. Could she be the actress who had been rumored to be with Wei Shufeng? So Boss was an actress in the entertainment industry? Wasn't Wei Shufeng filming with Lin Yan? They were acting as a couple. F***ck. Wei Shufeng, that rascal. What kind of luck did he have? She actually had a scandal with Boss. He could even act as a couple with boss. At this thought, Qi Xiaoyuan was so angry that he almost crushed his teeth. However, Wei Shufeng was a fool. He couldn't recognize boss at all. This fake fan. Wei Shufeng whipped out his phone and bellowed, "Lin Yan, give up. I'm going to put that Weibo post on top right now. Please take a good look at it every day and recognize the truth. F***CK. Wei Shufeng, do you know who you are talking to?" Qi Xiaoyuan couldn't hold it in any longer. "Who is she? Tell me." Wei Shufeng glared at Qi Xiaoyuan. "She is," just as he was about to say something, Lin Yan grinned and said, "Oh, you guys have discovered me. I'm the racetrack's Grim Reaper." The veins on Wei Shufeng's forehead throbbed. "Lin Yan. If you dare to defile my goddess again, I'll make sure you suffer the consequences." Qi Xiaoyuan looked as though he was looking at a retard. "Wei Shufeng, she might really be." Before he could finish, Wei Shufeng spat at him. "Qi Xiaoyuan, are you out of your mind?" Wei Shufeng snorted and strode away, as though he couldn't bear to look at Lin Yan any longer. Chapter 293. Lin Yan's lips curled into a smile, as though she had expected this. The more she said, the more Wei Shufeng doubted her. When Wei Shufeng was far away, Qi Xiaoyuan scurried over to Lin Yan. "Boss, Wei Shufeng," Lin Yan gestured for him to keep quiet. "Remember to keep this a secret." Qi Xiaoyuan nodded and replied obediently, "Yes, I will. Don't worry, boss." Satisfied, Lin Yan left with a smile. After Lin Yan left, Qi Xiaoyuan stared at his goddess's back for some time before he felt satisfied. Suddenly, Qi Xiaoyuan recalled Wei Shufeng's words. Wei Shufeng had mentioned a Weibo post. What was it? Out of curiosity, Qi Xiaoyuan clicked on the post and read its contents. Unless he was blind, Wei Shufeng would fall for her. Qi Xiaoyuan was speechless. Right now, Qi Xiaoyuan's jealousy of Wei Shufeng had turned into deep sympathy. He wondered how Wei Shufeng would feel when he found out the truth. In the preparation room, the He family team and ZH1 team were all there, looking solemn and solemn. Lin Yan had changed out of her uniform and entered the room. "Lin Yan, you jinx. Are you going to destroy the He family? I'm going to teach you a lesson today." He Xiong flew into a rage when he saw Lin Yan. He was about to slap her when he spoke. However, before he could get close, a hand grabbed his wrist tightly. Pei Yutong had entered the room. "Mr. He, it's not good to hit a girl. F***CK. How dare he hit his sister-in-law?" He Xiong's expression softened when he saw Pei Yutong. "Young Master Pei, as you can see, Mingkai worked so hard to clinch first place. We didn't let you down. Who would have thought that this lass would ruin everything? She clearly wants to destroy the He family." Pei Yutong pursed his lips. Since when had he had any expectations of He Mingkai? If he had known, he wouldn't have stopped him. If big sister-in-law had hit him, he would have been paralyzed. He Lufeng was infuriated when he heard He Xiong's words. What did he mean by working so hard to clinch first place? It was obvious that he had relied on Sister Yan's divine assistance to get him first place. However, he had said it 800 times, but no one believed him. He Dinkuan, who was seated next to Lin Yan, looked unusually solemn. "This isn't the entertainment industry. Xiaoyan, you were too rash this time." He Xiong glared at Lin Yan and bellowed, "It's one thing for you to embarrass yourself outside and ruin the reputation of your family. How dare you bring your dirty tricks over here? Our He family's team used to be so prestigious in the country. Now, we have to resort to such lowly means to scam others. Even if we manage to get sponsors, our reputation will be ruined. How are we going to maintain our foothold in the industry? We will be humiliated by you." "Enough." He Dinkuan interrupted He Xiong and glanced at God Z. He Dinkuan's expression was solemn and conflicted. It was one thing for Lin Yen to mess around, but he had never imagined that God Z would agree with her. Dinkuan replied, since it has already happened, we should think of a solution. Almighty Z, I'm sorry for implicating your team. Chapter 294. God Z shook his head. There's nothing to worry about. This is a decision that I made after careful consideration. He Dinkuan, He Xiong, and the others glanced at each other. Was God Z really that confident in Mingkai? God Z glanced at Lin Yen discreetly and said, I have faith in the He family team. He Xiong looked as though he had been injected with adrenaline. His face flushed red as he replied, I didn't expect God Z to think so highly of Mingkai. Don't worry, Mingkai will do his best just because of what you said. He Mingkai was elated that God Z had praised him in front of everyone. Besides, he had turned the tide and won first place. His confidence was off the charts. God Z, I won't let you down. God Z was speechless, Pei Yutong was speechless. God Z and Pei Yutong glanced at each other, their expressions indescribable. God Z noticed that Lin Yen hadn't said anything, so he didn't continue. Forget it. The organizing committee and organizers would definitely release a more detailed video of the competition. Then, they would know who He Mingkai had relied on to win the competition. Since Lin Yen had made a promise, it meant that she would compete personally. It was impossible for ZH1 to defeat WW. He could only trust Lin Yen and take the risk. Actually, Lin Yen was glad that she had been banned from the international competition. She wouldn't be able to participate in any of the competitions. Fortunately, this was just a qualifier, so she would be able to compete. The busy day had finally come to an end. Lin Yen left through the back door and got into Pei Yutong's car. This is so annoying. I thought that I could compete with big sister-in-law today. Pei Yutong looked regretful as he said excitedly, but Sister Yen, why did you become He Lefeng's navigator? An ADC who can win an MVP award has to be an assistant for a useless fellow? That's such a waste of talent. Actually, it had been a little risky. On one hand, her grandfather wouldn't allow her to compete as a racer. On the other hand, this was a rally race, so it would be too exhausting. Given the state of her left leg, she wouldn't be able to compete. Lin Yen didn't explain. She noticed that Pei Yutong had addressed her as big sister-in-law again. She had a complicated expression on her face as she coughed gently and asked, how's your brother? Pei Yutong frowned. I did a series of complicated checkups. She's stable for now, but, Lin Yen asked, but what? Stability is only temporary. My brother's current condition is like a 1,000-kilogram rock hanging on a strand of hair. It's very tricky. Moreover, my brother fainted again last night. Lin Yan's face stiffened. You fainted last night? Why didn't you say so earlier? How is he now? Pei Yutong replied, she's fine now. Actually, this has happened many times before. She always fainted without warning. I don't know if it's a side effect of her worsening condition. Lin Yen mulled it over. Your big brother. What kind of illness does he have? Pei Yutong's eyes darted around as he replied, my big brother's body has always been weak. Now, it's difficult for him to even stand up. He doesn't show it usually, so he's just putting up a strong front. He can't be agitated anymore. Especially when it comes from emotional stimulation. Chapter 295. Sister Yen, you've gotten back together with Big Brother. Big Brother is much better now. Pei Yutong glanced at Lin Yen nervously. Big sister-in-law, are you sure you've gotten back together with Big Brother? You won't break up with him again, right? Lin Yen was speechless. Actually, she had wanted to explain things to Pei Yutong. She would let him decide if he wanted to break up or not. However, after listening to Pei Yutong, Pei Yucheng's body was so weak. How could she dare to provoke him? It seemed like she could only lie to him, big sister-in-law. In the end, Lin Yan replied, yes, yes, yes. We've gotten back together. Didn't you hear it the other day? Pei Yutong heaved a sigh of relief when he heard Lin Yan. That's good. That's good. Oh yeah, Big Brother asked me to tell you that he has to go to Country M in a few days, Pei Yutong replied. Lin Yan frowned. Is your big brother alright? He's going to travel so far? Pei Yutong replied, don't worry. You're gentle, considerate, and kind. You've coaxed my big brother. His health is stable for now. Lin Yan glanced at him. Didn't you say that your big brother's health is like a huge rock hanging on a strand of hair? Pei Yutong replied, as long as you don't break up with my big brother, that strand of hair isn't a strand of hair. It's a stabilizing force. Lin Yan was speechless. What if * King stabilizing force? However, why hadn't Pei Yucheng called her directly? Why had he asked Pei Yutong to pass the message to her? She had thought that Pei Yucheng's true colors were as Pei Yutong had said. She had thought that he was a strict and manipulative person. After they had fallen out, he would definitely stop pretending. However, Pei Yucheng seemed to have reverted to the way he had been when she had first met him. He would always maintain a comfortable distance from her. She couldn't tell which one was the real him. Although she couldn't figure out Pei Yucheng's attitude, Lin Yan heaved a sigh of relief. She really didn't know how to face him after what had just happened. In the hall, Pei Yutong and the ZH1 members had left. Not long after, the He clan slowly walked in. All the members of the He family looked displeased as they avoided Lin Yan. It was as though walking with Lin Yan was a disgrace to them. Initially, Ming Kai had led us to victory in this competition. This would have been a great honor for our team. However, because of a woman who doesn't know anything, our team has been humiliated. One of the members of the He family team glared at Lin Yan as she entered the hall and hissed at her without a care in the world. Sir, I can't stay here any longer. I'm sorry, but I want to leave. A middle-parted young man walked over to He Dingkuan's side and spoke with a dark expression. He Dingkuan was taken aback. His gaze landed on the young man and he frowned. Wang Liao, what's wrong? Old master, I know that Lin Yan is your granddaughter, but how could you allow someone like her to cause trouble in our team? Wang Liao glanced at Lin Yan and said coldly, Ming Kai led us to victory against Old Tang's team today. We were in a good mood, but your granddaughter. Chapter 296. Before Wang Liao could finish, another young man interrupted him. Old master, Wang Liao is right. Your granddaughter doesn't know anything. She might not be able to handle the speed of the car, but she couldn't have stopped He Lifeng on the track. If it hadn't been for Ming Kai, the He family team would have become a joke today. Both of you, we have already become a joke. So what if we won? How dare she provoke the MW team in front of so many reporters? Who does she think she is? Does she really think that she is a professional navigator? Or a professional racer? She has already caused us so much trouble during this competition. She has almost humiliated us. How could she be so ignorant? He Lifeng wanted to say something, but in the end, he sighed. It didn't seem like he had the right to speak. Dad, if it hadn't been for Ming Kai, how would we have ended up? I have seen through her. She is even more vicious than her mother. He Xiong hissed coldly. All right. He Dingkuan frowned as he glanced at He Xiong. Her mother is your biological sister. She is your niece. Niece? He Xiong sneered coldly. Dad, I don't have the good fortune to have a niece who only knows how to harm her own people. He Dingkuan sighed heavily as his eyes trailed to Lin Yan. Xiaoyan, you can go back now, Lin Yan nodded expressionlessly and turned to leave without a word. Mingkai, we are lucky to have you today. Otherwise, our team would have been destroyed by that jinx. He Xiong glanced at He Mingkai. Dad, it's better to sever ties with her. She doesn't have any abilities, but she is good at harming her family. He Mingkai was expressionless. However, before He Mingkai could say anything else, the commentator's voice came from the television in the hall. The commentator said, "All right, the competition has ended. However, we have discovered some strange footage and recordings of the He family team. No, to be precise, it is about He Lefeng's navigator." All the members of the He family team turned to look at the screen at the same time. Lin Yan's voice was heard on the screen. Lin Yan replied, "Overtake him." He Lefeng replied, "How?" Lin Yan replied, "Drive close to the mountain and turn right 90 degrees. In the next second, a close-up shot appeared on the television and was presented in slow motion. All the members of the He family watched as He Lefeng's silver car sped up at a tricky angle and overtook Old Tang's team in an instant. The moment the silver race car overtook them, the front of the car tilted and swung violently, drifting 40 meters toward the mountain. When the curve ended, the silver race car returned to its original position and drove straight ahead. In the blink of an eye, the race car behind them had disappeared. This side horizontal drift. This is side horizontal drift? Everyone's eyes landed on He Lefeng, who hadn't said a word. Even He Dingkuan's eyes were filled with shock and disbelief. This must be a coincidence. Wang Liao glanced at He Lefeng expressionlessly. Before He Lefeng could respond, Lin Yan's voice rang out once more. The road widens. Increase your speed. Travel 120 meters and jump. Use fourth gear to make a left turn. Step on the accelerator. Chapter 297. Shift to fifth gear, turn left, jump, travel 80 meters, turn right in fourth gear, turn left in fourth gear, and maintain a straight line. The road widens, accelerate, travel 120 meters, jump, turn left in fourth gear, and accelerate halfway. This is a professional navigator's guide? One of the He family team members exclaimed in shock. It's a temporary guide. Someone else exclaimed in disbelief. The so-called temporary road map was not a map that had been memorized. Instead, it was based on the terrain at that time, the road conditions at that time, and everything that might happen at that time. However, even a professional navigator would not be able to do this. Whose navigator is that? I think it's He Lefeng's. It's that woman? How is that possible? It can't be her. Everyone in the He family team widened their eyes in disbelief. Break. Lin Yan's voice was heard again. Sister Yan, what's wrong? Just wait here. Huh? You're not running anymore? Don't talk. Listen to me. The He family team was dumbfounded by what they saw on the screen. The silver car, which had stopped after the first lap, suddenly dashed out and blocked the cars of the first and second members of Old Tang's team, who had just finished the third lap. Under Lin Yan's precise judgment and command, no matter how hard they tried, they couldn't overtake He Lefeng's silver car. Lin Yan's voice rang out again as everyone was still in shock. Turn on the radio and adjust the channel. Tell Grandpa to let He Mingkai overtake us from the right after he catches up. He has to be fast. Before the He family members could say anything, He Mingkai, who had originally been in third place, finally caught up with them. He Lefeng's silver car gave He Mingkai space to overtake. He Mingkai overtook the other car successfully. Before long, the He family's cars entered their field of vision one after another. He Lefeng's silver car released every single one of them. When he released them, he cleverly blocked Old Tang's car. At the time, the He family team had been driving, so they hadn't noticed anything. However, after watching the close-up footage, especially in slow motion, they could see everything clearly. My car is also a scam. Wang Liao stared at the TV screen in disbelief, at the car that was being let go by the silver car at the front. That car was the one he was driving. He Dinkuan sprang to his feet in shock. He Xiong's expression was so gloomy that it seemed as if it could drip water. Beside him, He Mingkai's expression also gradually turned ugly. Retreat. Lin Yan's voice echoed. To the right, reverse. Sister Yan, what do you mean? Can you tell me? He Mingkai's tires are about to burst. He Mingkai's car had a flat tire with a loud bang. Ram He Mingkai's car. Lin Yan's voice rang out again. All the members of the He family in the hall were dead silent. Their faces were filled with disbelief. He Mingkai, who had been so proud of himself and thought of himself as a meritorious person, had his expression completely frozen. This was impossible. Chapter 298. At that moment, there was a video that revealed the truth. He Lefeng could finally hold his head high after feeling aggrieved for so long. He rose to his feet and glanced at the dumbfounded crowd. Suddenly, he sneered coldly. All of you, stop pretending. If it hadn't been for Sister Yan, would you have reached the finish line and won the race? Dream on. At that moment, He Lefeng finally vented the pent-up frustration in his chest. Meanwhile, the commentator said excitedly, after discovering this, I was also very curious and surprised. It's rare. To think that there would be such a unique navigator in our country. It could be said that she single-handedly led the He family team to the finish line and won, F***CK. This woman, is that good? I've never seen such a good navigator in our country. How is that possible? Didn't she know nothing? All the members of the He family team stared at each other in disbelief. One of them recalled what Lin Yan had said before the race and exclaimed, oh yeah, I remember that when she checked Mingkai's car, she said that there was a problem with Mingkai's tires. I didn't expect it to be true. Yeah, if she hadn't asked He Lefeng to deliberately crash into the car, our efforts would have been in vain because of such a low-level mistake. It could be said that Lin Yan had been the one who had single-handedly pushed He Mingkai to the top spot with her accurate judgment. In the blink of an eye, everyone looked at He Mingkai with a strange look of worship in their eyes. They had thought that He Mingkai had performed exceptionally well. Who would have thought that this was the truth? He Mingkai's eyes were glued to the screen. When he heard the commentators say that she single-handedly led the He family team to the finish line, his face turned ugly. Damn it! How dare they say that he had relied on a woman to win? At this moment, He Xiong's expression was a little suspicious. How did this girl know about these things? He remembered that this lass had been close to fourth sister when she had been alive. She must have learned all this from her. He Xiong snorted coldly. I really couldn't tell that the girl was a good navigator. But so what? Can a navigator compare to a racer? If we lose, we'll become the laughingstock of the industry. Without giving anyone a chance to speak, He Xiong continued, even if she's a navigator, who does she think she is? Does she think she's a professional racer? A racer who could compete with Team 2W? No matter how good her navigational skills are, it's impossible for her to sit in the driver's seat, and it's even more impossible for her to outrun any of the members. He Mingkai's gloomy face softened a little when he heard his father's words. My father is right. She wouldn't be able to outrun even the members of the He family, let alone the WW team. Hearing the father and son's words, the other team members also nodded. That was true. After all, racing required actual combat and control. No matter how good an armchair strategist was, he could only be a navigator, Yi Xiong said condescendingly. However, that girl's navigational skills are quite good. We can ask her to assist Minkai later. She's barely qualified. Chapter 299. He Xiong glanced at He Minkai. He Minkai coughed softly and replied haughtily, "You can let her try." He Lufeng frowned when he heard this. As a navigator, Sister Yan's expertise might not be as good as the navigators of the top teams in the country, but she should be on par with them. However, the two of them looked as though they were in a difficult position. It was as though they were trying to take advantage of her. He Dinkuan pondered for a moment before he replied, "Xiaoyan's navigational skills should be considered professional. If she were to be paired with Minkai, it would not be too bad." "Yeah." One of the He family team members nodded and grinned. "Miss Lin Yan is definitely the best navigator in our family. She would be the best navigator in Minkai's team. What do you guys think of Lin Yan?" One of the He family team members glanced at the other navigators. "She's all right. She might not be the best, but she's passable. Actually, Lin Yan did contribute a lot to our victory. However, Lin Yan was also opportunistic. She isn't the best navigator, but if she was paired with Minkai, I don't think it would be a problem. Qingli, what do you think?" He Minkai's eyes landed on a young man. "You're the most professional navigator in our family. Why don't you give your assessment?" Hearing this, Qingli smiled. "Not bad, I guess. Unexpected and smart. However, although Lu Shu is very professional, he must have memorized everything in advance. Although he can't be described as top-notch, he is still considered to have good combat power. In that case, Qingli, guide Lin Yan and let her learn from you," said He Xiong. "I don't have a habit of accepting disciples." Qingli was taken aback. "However, since Uncle He Xiong has spoken, it wouldn't be right for me to disagree. However, I'm very strict. I think it's better to ask for Sister Yan's opinion first." He Lufeng frowned. Although they sounded as though they were serious, he had been following them the entire time. He knew Sister Yan better than anyone else. Qingli could barely be considered an intermediate navigator. How could he make things difficult for Sister Yan to be his disciple? He Xiong looked as though Lin Yan had taken advantage of him as he replied disdainfully, "What can she say? Minkai is the best racer in the He family and carries all the hopes of the He family. It's her honor to be his navigator. Plus, Qingli is the most capable navigator in the He family. Wouldn't she be grateful if Qingli were to be her master and teach her for free? Yeah. Even ZH1's captain, God Z, thinks highly of Minkai and made Lin Yan his navigator. This shows how much we value Lin Yan." He Dinkuan paused for a moment before he interrupted He Xiong and the others. "I'll find a time to discuss this with Xiaoyan." At the same time, in a high-class villa on the outskirts of the imperial capital, Wei Shufeng was having dinner with a group of friends. Qi Xiaoyuan was there too. Many of Wei Shufeng's friends were racing enthusiasts, just like him. In the spacious and luxurious living room, there was a huge LCD screen that was playing the news of the competition. It was about the He family's competition that afternoon. Chapter 300. The commentator's excited voice could be heard from the TV. That day's competition hadn't attracted much attention, as it had been a low-level competition. However, after the match had been announced, it had garnered a lot of attention and popularity. Coupled with the explosive news of 20W's challenge to ZHI, it had been pushed to a new height. "Spending the rest of my life with you is sweet and warm. I'm in the middle of typing. Please wait a moment. After the content has been updated, please refresh the page to receive the latest update." You're tuning into the Romantic Tales YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.